I will tell you the truth directly, because at 99 years old, I have no reason left to decorate the truth. The future of your body is decided long before you ever feel old. It is decided quietly, meal by meal, bite by bite, in moments so ordinary that most people never notice they are shaping their own destiny. When I was young, people believed health was mostly luck. Some families had good genes, others did not. That is what everyone said. But after nearly a century of watching friends grow sick, watching others remain strong, and watching my own body move through the decades, I learned something very different. Your future health is built from your daily negotiations with food. Every day, food asks you a question. Will you stop when your body has enough, or will you keep eating because the taste is good? Will you choose nourishment, or will you choose convenience? Will you listen to your body's quiet signals, or will you silence them with cravings? Most people imagine that aging suddenly appears one day, like a storm arriving overnight. But that is not how it happens. Aging is a slow accumulation of choices. Every excess meal, every late-night indulgence, every habit of overeating quietly writes a line in the story your body will tell decades later. I learned early that food is not just fuel, it is information. It tells your metabolism how to behave. It instructs your blood sugar how to rise and fall. It signals your cells whether to repair themselves or slowly break down. Self-control with food is not punishment. It is protection. It is a promise you make to the person you will become 20, 30, or 50 years from now. And if you ask me the greatest secret I discovered in 99 years of living, it is this: a better tomorrow does not begin tomorrow. It begins today, at your next meal. When people hear that I am 99 years old, they usually ask me the same question. They lean closer, their voices lowering as if I might reveal some rare medicine or secret formula hidden from the rest of the world. What is your secret? They expect me to say something mysterious, a rare herb, a special supplement, some strange ritual passed down through generations, but my answer always disappoints them. My secret is discipline with food, not perfection, not starvation, not extreme diets that promise miracles, just quiet, steady self-control practice day after day for nearly a century. You see, the human body does not collapse in a single dramatic moment. It slowly drifts away from health through thousands of small decisions, and most of those decisions happen at the table. When I was in my 20s, I noticed something that stayed with me my entire life. 2 men worked at the same office as my father. They were about the same age, maybe 45 or 50. One of them ate constantly. Pastries in the morning, heavy lunches, snacks throughout the afternoon, large dinners late at night. The other man ate differently. He ate slowly. He stopped before he was completely full. He treated food with respect, not indulgence. At the time, I did not understand why that difference mattered, but 20 years later, the answer became painfully clear. The first man was already struggling with diabetes, heart problems, and constant fatigue before he reached 60. The second man was still hiking, still working, still moving through life with energy. That was the first time I truly understood something most people ignore. Food habits are long-term investments. Every meal is a small deposit into your future health. And just like money, small deposits accumulate over time. The body remembers everything you repeatedly give it. When you constantly overeat, your metabolism slowly changes. Your blood sugar regulation begins to struggle. Your cells receive signals that there is always excess energy available. And slowly, they become less sensitive to insulin. Fat begins to accumulate in places it should never be, around organs, inside the liver, within the bloodstream. But when you practice self-control with food, something very different happens. Your body operates with efficiency. Your metabolism stays flexible. Your blood sugar rises and falls smoothly instead of violently spiking and crashing. Your cells receive a signal that encourages maintenance and repair. Science now explains many things that my generation only observed through experience. Researchers speak about insulin sensitivity, metabolic health, inflammation, and cellular repair. But long before scientists measured these things, wise people noticed the pattern. Those who eat with discipline age differently. I am not saying that food control guarantees perfect health. Life is never that simple, but it dramatically shifts the probabilities in your favor. Let me tell you something most people misunderstand about self-control. They think discipline means constant struggle. It does not. Real discipline is actually quiet. It becomes a habit so natural that it stops feeling like sacrifice. I stopped eating when I was satisfied, not stuffed. I avoided turning every emotional moment into an eating moment. I did not eat simply because food was available. And perhaps most importantly, I never allowed cravings to become the captain of my decisions. Cravings are powerful because they speak loudly. They promise pleasure now while hiding the consequences later. But your body speaks more softly. It whispers. It tells you when you have eaten enough. It tells you when you are truly hungry and when you are only bored, stressed, or tired. Self-control is simply learning to listen to the quiet voice instead of the loud one. This is not only about weight. In fact, weight is only the visible part of a much deeper story. Inside the body, every meal triggers a cascade of biological signals. Blood sugar rises, hormones respond, cells decide whether to store energy or burn it. Inflammation can increase or remain calm. Repair mechanisms may activate or remain idle. These microscopic events are happening constantly, whether you notice them or not. And over decades, those microscopic decisions determine how your body ages. When food intake is excessive and chaotic, the body remains in a constant state of metabolic stress. Blood sugar spikes repeatedly, insulin rises too often, fat storage increases, inflammation slowly becomes chronic. Chronic inflammation, as scientists now know, is deeply connected to many diseases associated with aging, heart disease, diabetes, cognitive decline, and even certain cancers. But disciplined eating patterns help maintain metabolic stability. Your blood sugar becomes predictable. Your body burns stored energy more efficiently. Your organs remain under less stress. And over time, that stability protects the systems that must serve you for 80, 90, or 100 years. But there is another dimension to self-control that few people talk about. It shapes your character. When you repeatedly practice small acts of discipline, even something as simple as stopping after one portion instead of two, you strengthen a mental muscle. The ability to delay gratification, the ability to choose long-term well-being over short-term pleasure. This ability spreads into other areas of life. You become more patient, more thoughtful, more intentional. In many ways, food is the most frequent test of discipline we face every single day. Unlike other habits that appear occasionally, eating happens multiple times daily. That means you are constantly training your decision-making system. Are you someone who follows impulses, or are you someone who guides them? People sometimes laugh when I tell them that the path to a long life begins with something as simple as leaving a few bites on the plate. But I am serious. Stopping before fullness protects digestion. Avoiding overeating protects metabolism. Choosing nourishing food protects your cells. And repeating those choices thousands of times builds a body that ages more slowly. Remember this: the body does not care about your intentions. It responds to your patterns. One healthy meal means very little. One indulgent meal also means very little. But repeated behaviors shape biology. Your body becomes the reflection of what you consistently do. That is why self-control today creates a better tomorrow. Not because of one heroic decision, but because of thousands of small ones. And the beautiful thing about this truth is that anyone can begin. You do not need expensive treatments. You do not need rare supplements. You only need the willingness to pause before your next bite and ask a simple question: am I feeding my future or only my craving? Now let me tell you something that took me many decades to fully understand. Self-control with food is not about denying pleasure. It is about protecting your future strength. When people are young, the body forgives almost everything. You can overeat, stay up late, ignore hunger signals, and your body still recovers quickly. Youth hides the consequences of bad habits. It creates the illusion that nothing you do today will matter tomorrow, but the body keeps records. Every excess spike of blood sugar, every pattern of overeating, every habit of eating when you are not truly hungry becomes part of a long biological history that your body carries forward. At 30, you barely notice it. At 40, you may begin to feel small changes: slower energy, stubborn weight, occasional fatigue. At 50 and 60, the patterns become harder to ignore. This is why I always tell younger people something they rarely want to hear. Your body at 70 is the autobiography of your habits. It tells the story of how you treated yourself for decades. When I was raising my children, food discipline was not fashionable. People thought moderation sounded boring. Advertisements encouraged constant indulgence. Restaurants served portions large enough for 2 people. Sweet foods were treated as rewards for every emotion: celebration, sadness, stress, even boredom. But I quietly kept a different relationship with food. I ate when I was hungry. I stopped when my body felt satisfied, and I never allowed food to become entertainment. That last point is more important than most people realize. Many modern eating problems do not come from hunger. They come from distraction. People eat while watching screens, while driving, while working, while scrolling endlessly through news and messages. The mind becomes detached from the body, and when the mind is not present, the body's signals are easily ignored. True hunger is a calm, clear signal. Craving is something different. Cravings are emotional. They are impatient. They demand immediate satisfaction. They are often triggered by stress, fatigue, or habit rather than actual nutritional need. Learning to recognize this difference changed my life. Whenever I felt the urge to eat, I would pause and ask myself a quiet question: is this hunger or is this a feeling? Many times it was simply a feeling. Perhaps I was tired, perhaps I was bored, perhaps something had frustrated me earlier in the day. Food can temporarily numb those feelings, but it never resolves them. And when food becomes a solution for emotions, self-control begins to disappear. Over time, this pattern leads to overeating without awareness. But when you pause, even for a moment, you regain authority over the decision. And that small pause can protect your health for decades. Another important lesson I learned is that portion size matters more than people think. The body does not need enormous quantities of food to function well. In fact, eating slightly less than full capacity often allows digestion and metabolism to work more efficiently. When you consistently overfill the stomach, the digestive system must work harder, blood sugar rises more sharply, energy becomes diverted toward processing excess food instead of maintaining and repairing the body. But when you eat moderate portions, the body processes nutrients calmly and steadily. Your blood sugar remains more stable. Your energy stays consistent throughout the day, and your metabolism does not become overwhelmed. There is a quiet wisdom in stopping when you are about 80% full. It leaves space for the body to function smoothly rather than struggle with excess. Many long-lived cultures around the world practice this principle without even realizing its scientific significance. They simply say, "Eat until satisfied, not until stuffed." Science today explains why this matters. Moderate calorie intake reduces metabolic stress. It improves insulin sensitivity. It lowers inflammation. It allows cells to engage in repair processes more efficiently. Researchers speak about cellular repair, mitochondrial efficiency, and metabolic flexibility, but the everyday version of that science is very simple. Do not constantly overload the body. Give it space to function. Give it time to recover between meals. Your body is remarkably intelligent when you allow it to work the way nature designed. Another practice that helped me throughout life was consistency. The body loves rhythm. Eating at roughly similar times each day helps regulate digestion, hormone release, and blood sugar balance. Irregular eating patterns, constant snacking, unpredictable meal times, late-night overeating create confusion within the body's internal systems. Your metabolism works best when it can anticipate what is coming. Regular meals, reasonable portions, and mindful choices create a predictable biological environment, and predictability is deeply stabilizing for the body. But perhaps the most powerful lesson I learned about food discipline has nothing to do with biology. It has to do with identity. People often say, "I am trying to control my eating." Trying is temporary. Identity is permanent. When you begin to see yourself as someone who respects your body, your choices naturally begin to change. You no longer ask, "Should I eat this?" Instead, you ask, "Is this how I treat my body?" That small shift transforms discipline from a constant struggle into a reflection of who you are. You are not depriving yourself. You are honoring the life you are responsible for maintaining. After nearly a century, I can tell you this with certainty. Your body will reward you for every act of care you give it, not immediately. Sometimes the rewards take years to reveal themselves, but they do arrive. When many of my friends began to struggle with severe metabolic diseases in their 60s and 70s, my body still felt stable. My energy remained steady. My mind remained clear. It was not because I was extraordinary. It was because thousands of small decisions accumulated quietly over time. Self-control with food is not dramatic. It will never make headlines, but it is one of the most powerful investments you can make in your future self. And the beautiful thing is that it does not require perfection. It only requires awareness, patience, and the willingness to care about tomorrow as much as you care about today. After 99 years of living, I have come to understand something that most people only realize much later than they wish. The future is not built in dramatic moments. It is built in ordinary ones. Your body does not suddenly become healthy because of one perfect week of eating, and it does not suddenly fall apart because of one indulgent meal. What truly shapes your future is the quiet pattern you repeat again and again across the years. Every meal is a small vote, a vote for strength or weakness, a vote for clarity or fatigue, a vote for a future body that will carry you with ease, or one that will struggle under the weight of decades of excess. When I look back over my long life, I cannot point to a single heroic act that gave me my health. Instead, I see thousands of small moments where I chose patience over impulse. I stopped eating when I had enough. I respected hunger without fearing it. I treated food as nourishment rather than entertainment, and those small decisions quietly protected me across the decades. Many people wait until illness arrives before they begin to care about what they eat. But by then, the body has already been carrying years of accumulated stress. The wiser path is much simpler. Care for the body before it begins asking for help. Self-control with food is not about restriction, it is about respect. Respect for the remarkable body that must carry you through 70, 80, or perhaps even 90 years of life. So if there is one piece of advice I can leave you with, it is this. Do not wait for tomorrow to take care of your future, because your future body is already being built today, one bite at a time,